got a golfer in a pretty good physical setup here, but she's leaning a little bit more towards the target than I'd like to see. Good takeaway right there. A little bit too handsy maybe, but not bad. But as she goes, she doesn't get her spine tilted away from the target, so she ends up creating the reverse C-look that we get all the time instead of getting her spine back behind the golf ball. And again, we want to see the spine behind the golf ball, and you can see where the spine is way over here. It's not behind the golf ball. Good rotation down. She's going to turn into the shot, but then she doesn't turn her hands over. She ends up with the right hand under the club, left hand on top. Generally will slice the ball. A lot of possibility here. This is our down the line view. Very athletic stance. A lot of potential to be a great golfer. If we draw a line up her spine angle from her hips right up through her ears, you can see how well stacked she is over the golf ball, ready to attack. Really good hand position, ready to go. I'm going to watch the takeaway now. Notice how the club is staying on or above the club line, and as she gets back to the position right about there, the club really does pass right through the hand zone. Beautiful takeaway there. She comes up. Now what she does do is she gets a little high up here where she stands up, but she does a great job of pulling that club down, back inside, tucking it into her side, and then rotating through the shot. If she could swing a little bit more out to right field instead of inside so much, be more consistent results and more power. Here we have another down the line view, and this time we're going to take a look at the swing path here. Take a line right up the golf shaft. The head of the club should stay on or slightly above that. Notice it's coming way back to the inside. So the hands are drifting inside the swing line or inside the plane. Gets in a pretty good position there, but his right elbow's flying out a little bit, and he comes over the top. But notice how he recovers and gets the hands pretty nicely back. And this time the club head is way back here on the inside, so he's going to get that nice inside approach and turn through it. Now if he can get a little bit more rotation here with this foot and have it up on the toe, I think we're going to see a better finish and a better swing. Different golfer, but the same view, a caddy view. Nice grip. He's going with a pretty strong grip to keep from going to the right. He's also got a bit of a closed stance. He's really trying to hit this ball a little bit left of his center line. Nice wide takeaway. Notice the hands are pretty passive here. Getting a pretty decent wrist hinge there. Notice how far he's rotated the shoulders. The lead shoulder is now where the trail shoulder used to be. The only negative I see is that he's drifted a little bit outside his foot line there. You can see the inside of his right foot is kind of up a little bit. We'd like to see that right knee stay posted or turned in a little bit, almost knock-kneed. Now we're going to come down to the impact position. Good club lag, rotating through. And again, we've got another golfer going under the club instead of around on top of the club. And that way he doesn't get any extension down the line. But you know something? Probably a good enough swing. We don't need to get perfect. We need to get good enough to score. And if he can do that on a regular basis, that's probably going to score for him. The easiest thing to do, though, is to fix that. When we look at a golfer from the down-the-line view, one of the things we want to notice is, does the club ever go past the butt line? And let's just see what happens here. He's swinging this club. Take it back now. Honestly. There he's starting back pretty good. So he's staying out there. It's a little bit too far behind because he hasn't turned enough. He hasn't rotated his chest. He's moving his shoulders okay. He's going to start back down. Very good. Now he's outside the line. And notice how the club face is wide open here and outside the hands. At this point, we'd like to see the club more inside the hands, more about in here, and then he could rotate into a nice finish. Good solid impact, but notice how he's swinging pretty far to the left here instead of turning to the left. Yeah, got something to work on. Okay, this is called the caddy view. Here we see a very athletic golfer, very strong. Generally what happens with real strong golfers like that is they get a little bit handsy because they can and still get some decent results. The problem is it's very hard to be consistent when you're swinging primarily with your hands. Let's just watch the takeaway, see how wide we can get. Pretty decent takeaway there, but now notice that the torso's quit turning almost completely, and he's going to fold up a little bit here. At this point here, we'd rather see this shoulder turn. He's got to get that shoulder back more parallel to his trail foot. That's going to make it easier for him to get a good inside-out swing. Good leg move there. Watch the leg turn, but the right leg isn't doing anything. And then he ends up falling backwards and scooping the shot right there. Right hand directly under the club, not rotating it under. That's the very handsy approach. You can get away with that sometimes, but other times you're going to hit the ball fat or thin, and we're going to have inconsistent results. Good balanced finish. Okay, down the line view, we see a great spine, nice straight line there. Club's on a good plane too. That looks pretty good. Maybe there's a little more weight back on the heels. It's really hard to tell. But the way he sat up, it looks like the butt's a little too far behind his feet. So he may have a little weight going back on the heels a little bit. Let's see his turn, though. A little bit to the inside, which is typical if your weight's back on your heels. Okay. A little lifting, not bad. It's got a nice flat left wrist, but notice he's not getting any hinging of the golf club here. And we need him to get a little bit more hinge. Right now, the golf club is almost on a straight line with his arm. Gets a great turn into the shot. Great rotation of the hands through the impact zone, and a good finish. A little more wrist hinge, a little more club lag. The buggy whip drill is a good drill for you. Okay, we're going to put the golfer's head in a circle just so we can see if there's much lifting going on, and I believe there is. We're going to watch the club go back now. There's the lift starting. See how he starts right up, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to keep the head down by pointing the chin down. But everything else is lifted up. The shoulders are up. They haven't rotated under his chin. They're actually up on his nose. You can't even see his mouth. His hands are really high. Straighten up his right leg. We need him to do a little bit more rotational swing. Doing a good job of coming back into the impact zone. Getting pretty decent rotation. Look at that. Good rotation of the arms. But right here, you can see that right hip hasn't rotated at all. You can't even see the opening of his front pocket yet. See if he turns, he never gets that lower body rotated around. We need him to get to feel that so he can do it. On this down the line view, we have a little rounded shoulders going on here. Rather than having the shoulders kind of curve like that, I really need the spine to be a nice straight line. It makes it easier to rotate around a straight line. Hands are in a pretty good position, feet are square, chin is up. Very, very nicely done here. Now let's take the takeaway, taking the club pretty much straight back. Getting into that position we like where the club head blocks the view of the hands. Very nicely done. Rotates up to the side, keeping his right leg posted nicely. Coming down into it, dropping to the inside. Nice flat left wrist. Turning into it, getting a good extension through the ball. Swinging a little bit out to the right, and a nice finish. All in all, pretty good swing. Good job. Now let's take a look-see. Hands are in a pretty good position, slightly forward pressed. The head is behind the golf ball. The dogs are barking nicely. Don't let that bother you. Now we're going to watch the takeaway. Hands stay pretty passive. A little bit of a slide to the outside, and then the head does this little drop move here. Then he gets a good knee flex into the shot, right there. Now we just got to get those hands turning over. See how that elbow's straight up in the air? That's what's causing him all of his distance. He's not getting any whip. And his hands are right in here. And look where they are on the takeaway. They're way out there. So we need him to get those hands extended out a little further on that follow-through.